Hello survivors, welcome to a brand new Soulstone survivor video. This is usually something we would do on a silly Saturday, but 2 days ago Stussy mentioned in the comment section that they thought they found a really cool build for silly Saturday, but I've got other ones planned, so I thought, you know what the heck, we'll just do it today. We are running Reroll Mastery, Skill Inclination Fire, Efficient Extraction, Divine Legacy, Singular Focus, and Advanced Tactics. We're actually going to change the rune. We're not going to use Efficient Extraction. We're going to go and grab ourselves a Skill Mastery, Fire as well, because we've changed the weapon, and the whole thing is going to run around a Flaming Spiral. So we run a Skill Mastery Fire for Flaming Spiral, and then Skill Inclination Fire, and we are going to be scaling health. So first things first is his Ascension actually works really well for this because it does give us a maximum health, and then I went for the fourth weapon because it gives us more max health and also some crit chance, movement speed, and area of effect, which all work really well. So let's see if we can do Sigil of Corruption +7 and see how far we can go if we can actually do it. So unfortunately, we start with Earthbreaker, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. We will get the skills that we need to get. That's the whole point of this. But we're going to be starting with Midorahk. Midorahk is going to give us the most important part of the entire build, which is going to be getting the actual fire crit for every crit for fire skills for every stack of burn the enemies have on them. So it's very powerful, especially with the skill that applies so much burn, and the damage for the skill is multiplied based on the HP that we have as well. So it should work pretty well. Again, it is like a very silly Saturday kind of build, but because it is a +7, it's actually not very silly Saturday. It's more this build actually works really ridiculously. So this gives us 37% more HP. I say more HP because it's not going to go to 300 and whatever amount it should have been. It actually goes up much more, as you can see over there. So very strong. And then we got reroll mastery, so we just reroll all the times until we get flaming spirals. We got singular focus. This allows us to have multiple of the same skill, and this is just going to burn stack completely ridiculously for us. So yep, that's the plan. Run 6 flaming spirals. The burn is multiplied based on your max HP. We're going to stack as much max HP through passives as well as through Titan passives. So we'll get to those a little bit later. And hopefully we super tanky and can go from there. Okay, damage increase over there is beautiful. There's more HP, another flaming spiral. Do have to just be a little bit careful because obviously we don't want to take too much damage in the early game. And we can do that if we aren't careful. A Swift will be perfect. We don't need the burn stacks over here because we're going to be applying more than in... Oh, actually, I don't even know if we will be. We're going to take burn, actually. Just to be safe. It's not that the burn is there for the damage anyway. It's just there so that the skill can get the crit damage. And then the burn that the skill will apply will be dealing more damage. So over here, burn total is 420. And I went up to 672. Thanks to the burn damage. So we are going to grab those as well. Okay, perfect. Seems to be working pretty well for us.
Through the darkness we rise, soon Titan.
Loads of levels gained there, which is perfect. Increase the burn damage. We've got some more rerolls to do. Multicast is actually also very good over here, and magnetic. We do want the magnetic for the free levels. And can we scoop up the last one relatively quickly? Yes, we can. Beautiful. So there's all the skills. We do have our Ascension up over here, which we're going to grab. The only problem is we start off boss fights without it. Maybe we can try and get it so that it will give us a faster activation time or something like that, so that it shows up more often, but I don't believe he has that option in buffs. So we'll just see what happens. Boss fights are kind of difficult. Over here we want to remove all of these. So everything that is specific to Flaming Spiral we're actually going to go and get rid of. Now the reason for that is because you actually want to have as many buffs and things for all of them at the same time. It just helps get them to be a little bit stronger, and it also opens up a lot of freedom for things like your multicast for all fire skills, or skills like that, things like that, where it's going to buff every single one of them, and then the overall power is far stronger. Also, we will remove visibility, especially if we take too much damage. But yeah, HP scaling, every time we get HP, we're going to grab it. Things like this, area of effect, damage over there, beautiful. These are the ones we get rid of. There you go, those are the things that you're going to look for. So area of effect for fire, damage for fire. We are on 125 critical strike chance, so we are doing amazingly. Crit does make a big difference, by the way, as well, when you're playing. So if you have crit, that's fantastic.
Piece by piece, we reclaim the balance.
Okay, there's the crystal, but it doesn't look like we have to worry too much about whether or not we pick up the actual crystals or not. Alright, of course, you know the sitch, we have to remove visibility when we fight the boss, because obviously the boss is going to cause problems for us. There's damage increase, more HP. Again, the more HP we get, the more the damage multiplier is, and the more damage, or you know, the more burn stacks we get, fire amplification, the easier it's going to be for us to do more damage, because that's the base damage that gets increased, the burn total damage. So just makes sense to do that, and then we'll show you what the Midorahk passive is that we'll end up getting, and you wouldn't even think that we're on +7 right now just because of how easy this feels. Again, can't really activate our Ascension in the boss fights, but it's not really necessary. It does help with damage, of course, because we will have more damage because of the Ascension, because it's giving us a whack ton of HP, but otherwise we're still fine. So here we go, Searing Ash, increase the critical strike chance of the type fires per stack of burn on the target. So we're going to scale that. That's the only thing we're going to be grabbing the entire round, and nothing else. The next thing we're also going to be grabbing is Voltage and Vivolt, because guess what they give us? They give us area and fire, HP. So we're going to grab area and HP scaling from them. It's 120 HP from them, which should be a massive amount of damage. Hopefully, that's the plan at least. We'll definitely keep our eyes on the damage numbers before we grab the passive, just so we can see. But we're still going to scale more and more. Increase the duration is pretty good, and increase damage of everything as well. So 11 times damage multiplier now. Obviously, we're going to try and get that to be as high as possible. Another reason why we take the Shaman is the Shaman has something called Vigor. So you'll see sometimes my maximum HP actually increases without worrying about, like there, 398, 408, 406, whatever the case is. That's not necessarily healing. That's our actual Vigor stacks. So we gain Vigor, Vigor increases maximum HP, but it is only for a specific amount of time. So there will be times where the percentage for the fire will be much higher. Another thing we can get is Skill Chain over here. Skill Chain, what happens is one of these won't be able to apply. So what happens is if this one applies the Skill Chain, it would be applying it to all the others, but it can't apply Skill Chain to itself, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Multicast is going to be very good there. Grab more HP and more multicast. Remember, multicast means that we're going to apply more burn stacks, so the more burns we apply, the more damage we'll be doing. Okay, damage or burn, armor is good, increase the bonus damage while the ritual is active, so it goes to 30%, the damage applied more quickly, cooldown. I'm pretty sure this increases the burn amount, it doesn't, so I'm not 100% sure whether or not that helps, but it does definitely help with the fact that we get more damage from HP, more crit chance because we're applying more burn stacks. So even though it doesn't necessarily directly increase the damage in any way, we get that increase to the damage via other means. And then the next step would be grabbing wound, obviously, from the boss. I would have liked that at the Midorahk fight though, so then we could have had the increased fire right away, the burn stacking. Also, it's causing a little bit of flashbang, so we'll turn it down even more. The one thing is if I turn it all the way up, we won't be able to see anything, which is unfortunate. Alright, so 544 HP if we grab our Ascension, so we're already at 14 times. We go to 700, which is 20 times damage, which is pretty big, pretty respectable for the second Titan. And that's on every skill, it's not just one skill, which makes it even better. Okay, there's a 2 over here and a 1 down there, so that's perfect. Big HP over there. Big damage increases. Another big HP. We'll go for that. I don't know why, but we will. Burn to slow is actually fine. We can go slow to Disarray as well when we finally eventually get it. We could have locked the swing, but we seem to be getting quite a lot of it anyway, so I don't think it's necessarily too much of an issue. How much damage are we currently on? 25. And then we've also got that fire, you know, deals a percentage of its damage immediately, so we don't have to worry about that. And we get free XP coming up too. Swing to fire, slow to Disarray, perfect. Increase the damage of burn, increase our block chance. And this is probably going to be the hardest fight, as it usually is. But as you can see, we pretty damaging. That was relatively easy. So not slow to brittle, although that we've already got brittle on hit. We're going to go for the max HP and area. That's 120%, 120 maximum HP. Remember, that's max HP, so it just stacks. And then we go back to Midorahk to get the increased fire burn. You could... Oh, I forgot to go through the portal. Oh well, doesn't matter. But it's my bad. Alright, max HP, you can see we're doing so much more damage now, just as a base. Things are dying so much faster. Fortunately, I don't think we can even get this one. Maybe, yep, we can. So 782 all the way up to 1000 HP. Where is this thing? Oh, there it is. Alright, perfect. 30 times damage. I don't believe this is the exact way that Stussy mentioned in the comments. They definitely did a different path to me. In terms of what they went for as a Titan passives, but since we were doing HP scaling, I thought, well, why not actually scale HP? So that's exactly what we were doing. So we literally just going for fire crit and then HP on everything. Of course, things like multicast and all those beautiful upgrades, slow to Disarray is very good as well. Going for more burn stacks, burn damage, all that stuff makes a massive difference. Obviously, grabbing things like this burn on crit is also massive in terms of how many burn stacks we can then apply, and so on and so forth. So pretty cool. I don't know, this build's really strong to the point where I don't even feel like we are, in any form of danger or anything like that. I feel like we are so strong that it doesn't feel like we're on +7. I feel like I'm on +0 with this, which is ridiculous because the amount of HP that the bosses get and things like that is madness on this level. So the fact that I feel like, oh, well, it's not really that much happening is crazy. So damage, and skill chain. We can go with more area of effect, that's fine. We also on 0.6 second cooldown. And we have how much chance to skill chain? 34%. So that's even more crazy. It's nice when you can just stand still and beat the boss up and you don't have to move around too much.
Finally, this blood will rip open the final portal.
Okay, so we go for it again. Luckily we got lots of rerolls, so we grab this. It increases the crit chance, doubling it to 0.8. And then obviously you'll keep doing that. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We've got plenty of critical strike chance. We've got we could go Disarray to Disorientated now actually, so we will do that. We'll skip 1 HP scaling just for this, because that's going to make it a very, very powerful as well, increasing our critical damage. We could grab everything on Midorahk, even though he has very good power-ups. We are going to make sure that what we're getting is only the fire one, because the more you get of that, the more critical strike chance you do. The Disarray from this should be more than enough to keep us at a good amount of damage increase. I mean Disoriented from this. The Disarray 2 Disoriented. Oh, except I haven't picked up any Disarray. There we go, we'll pick up a couple. Perfect. Alright, 874 HP, going up all the way to 1200 with a 34% times multiplier. Pretty cool. Not as strong as armor where we got to over 100 times, but still very strong. And we got a second Midorahk. So I'm actually going to darn. Alright, we'll just go through it for the HP scaling, but we won't be able to. So we this time we won't forget the portal. It does give us additional levels, so it will make us that much stronger, but unfortunately the only thing we can really get that's going to be beneficial is going to be the amount of life we can get from everything. So just banish all those things. I don't even need this or the multicast. We get them a lot from other sources. Grab the Merciless, the HP. There we go. See, multicast from there. That's why we don't need the general multicasts. Unfortunately, it's only boss fights right now. The one thing as well is it's not going to show you the full circle. So let me show you what I mean by that. Is when I do this, it doesn't actually show you the full thing. But it really looks pretty cool when you've got it going like so. So lovely little skill. Obviously, I think there are ones that land up going further around you. Although area of effect looks like it just makes it thicker. Not necessarily anything else, which is a bit unfortunate. It would be cool if you could make it the entire map. But it is what it is. How do we have finesse? By the way, we've also got Ancestry. Ancestry is a buff that increases your damage based on your HP as well. So the fact that we've got that is also extremely powerful. Grab these for damage. And the burn total is going up even more. Now the one thing that is clear is that the burn damage is multiplied based on your maximum HP. So it doesn't say whether or not it is. I haven't tested it. The commenter mentioned that it doesn't stack with burn on hit, the maximum health HP, but I don't see why it wouldn't. Obviously it doesn't increase your burn on the skill, but that skill is hitting with the HP, so I don't see why it shouldn't, but obviously they may have tested it and things like that. But there's the Disarray. I nearly forgot about it again. Ooh, that was a close one. Okay, through the portal. Get ourselves our juicy XP from this. We should be able to pick all of it up pretty quickly. Get ourselves free levels, and it's just going to help us defeat the corrupted Void Hunter. Because this is +7 sigil, the very first sigil, there is no Void King fight, which is a bit unfortunate, but we will keep playing this, testing out a couple of other things that might make it stronger, or anything like that. Over here, let's just reroll to get just HP, see how much stronger we get with that. Obviously, things like damage, just base damage, and that are also very good. Unbreakable is very good. Incinerate's good. I mean, all these things are very good. That's why if we get them, I'm taking them. Again, damage. Let's go for HP, HP. damage over there, damage, some more life. We get another skill chain, so we grab that and the damage. There's a nice life one for us. More skill chain. The skill chain's now at 50%, which is massive. And then we get the HP. So 1245 HP without the scaling from our Ascension. It would be nice if I need to just double check. Actually, I wish myself or someone else could make a list of what all Ascensions do, or the stats that they give you, just so you know. But I think it might be on Misa's Survivor's Guide, the Soulstone Survivor's Guide for beginners. It might have a list of what all the Ascensions are, but I'd have to double check that for us and see, because it does help, knowing what to plan or what all the Ascensions are and the stats you get from them before you actually even play the game. But this is only with 2 of them. You can definitely push this further. Remember, it's infinitely scaling, and what happens is the more crits you actually have, the more critical damage the skill does. So if you have 200% critical strike chance, that means that every time you hit an enemy, you are going to deal double the amount of critical damage compared to just having 100% critical strike chance. So it literally just adds more damage to your skills, just flat out. So massive damage increases to go over 100% critical strike chance, in case you were ever wondering. This one looks like it's going to be quite a quick one. We've got 9 points just sitting over here. And because none of them seem to be boss fights either, that means it's going to go even faster for us. Alright, there we go. And we get a +4 at the side over here, making it even faster.
The void fragment is mine. This will loosen the gate.
Okay, HP again. We can grab some Disarray and block, grab the burn stacks, grab more HP, damage of course, and more burning. So yep, burn has gone up to 14,000, which is amazing. That's obviously from things like these over here, where we do now 930% increased fire damage. But just overall, we are very, very strong, as you can see. Boss has a lot of HP, and unfortunately we can't stand next to her because of the rain of arrows that's on top of them, but that's not the end of the world. As you can see, a very quick, beautiful fight. We got to go and add this. The best thing about this is you can actually get HP as a thing, I believe, somewhere. Is that wrong? Looks like I may have been wrong, but you can just go, oh, no, I was right. Here we go, 120 more HP. So there you go. If you wanted to keep going, we're actually on 42 times damage multiplier on the skill. Absolutely madness stats for the actual skill. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed showing it to you and playing it. Definitely going to take this further in the future, but I needed to test it with you guys, see how it did. Absolutely mad time, mad damage, 530,000 number of hits. Obviously, the higher we go, the more damage we'll be doing as well, with Ancestry also doing a whack ton of damage over there, and then even lots of billions for Ignition Point and for Spontaneous Combustion. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.